You may have learned how to graph square root equations, but how do we graph cube root equations? So let's first go over how to graph just the basic cube root equation, y equals the cube root of x. So to graph anything, really all you have to do is plug in numbers for x, see what you get out for y, and then put it on the graph. And remember that y is up and down, and x is left and right. But in this case, I think it'll actually be easier, and I did the same thing in the square root video, is that if we plug in numbers for y, and then see what we get for x, then that'll make things easier because trying to put in numbers for x into a square root can give us decimals. So first, let's just plug in 0 for y and see what we get. And to do this, we just need to think what number, if we take the cube root of it, will give us 0. Well, remember that the cube root means multiplying it 3 times to get to that number. And 0 times 0 times 0 is still 0. So the cube root of 0 is 0. So we can plot a point right here in the middle of our graph because it's 0 to the left or right and 0 up and down. Now, what about 1? What number do we need to put in the cube root to get 1? Well, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. So that means x equals 1 and y equals 1. So we can put a point there as well. So x equals 1 means we need to go 1 space to the right. So that'll be right here. And then y equals 1 means we need to go 1 space upward. So we need to go up here. And there will be another point on our graph right here. And now finally, what number do we need to put in for x to get 2 for y? Well, to figure out what number to put in here, we would need to do 2 times 2 times 2, which 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So you have to put in 8 for x just to get out 2 for y. And that's like going off of our graph here. We're like almost off of the screen right here. So x equals 8. That means we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces to the right, only to go 2 up because y is 2. So 1, 2. And there will be a point right here, almost off the screen. So now we can draw a line connecting these, right? So we're going to go ahead and draw, it's going to be a curved line, right? It's going to be a line going here, and I'll just stop it here because it's going off of the graph. Now for square roots, this would be the end of the graph because you can't put in a negative number for x. If you put a negative number inside the square root, then that's going to get you imaginary numbers. So the graph would just stop here, anything to the left of 0. But I want you to think about how this would work for cube roots. Can we put negative numbers inside a cube root? Well, like for example, what if we put in negative 1? Is there any way that we can get negative 1 by multiplying the same number 3 times? Well, if we did negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, well, negative 1 times negative 1, 2 negatives make a positive, so that becomes positive 1. But times another negative makes it negative again. So actually, yes, with cube roots, we can put in negative numbers. So we're going to have a whole nother part of the graph on this left side. So if we put in negative 1 for x, we get out negative 1 for y, which means negative numbers are to the left. So we go 1 to the left. And then y equals negative 1. That means we go 1 squared down. And we have another point right here. And we can also put in a number to get out negative 2. Well, to get negative 2, we would need to put in for x negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, times another negative 2 is 4 times 2 is 8, and there's one minus sign. So we have to put in minus 8 for x to get out negative 2 for y. So we need to go to the left 8 squares. So that's going to be all the way over here. And then we need to go down 1, 2. And we'll have a point right here. So let's go ahead and draw another line connecting these. So this is the final graph of y equals the cube root of x. But how do we use this to graph any other sort of cube root equation? So here's the second equation that we'll be graphing in this video. It's a little bit more complicated. It's just the cube root equation, but we have an extra plus 1 here on the inside. And then we have a 2 here on the outside. And remember, that's multiplication because there's no sign. So we could just do it the same way, plug in numbers for x and see what we get for y. But that would be really time consuming. But because we know how to graph a regular cube root equation, what we can do is we can graph the regular cube root equation and then figure out what this plus 1 and this 2 are doing to it and then just make those changes. And that's called transformations. Now, there are multiple different types of transformations that you can have. I do have a full video just on transformations if you want to go watch that and see all the different things that can happen to a graph. But in this case, I'm just going to show you how to use transformations on cube root equations. So we need to start by graphing the parent graph, which is just y equals the cube root of x, which is what we just graphed. And I'm going to go ahead and just graph it the same way we did before. So here's our cube root equation, and it's already graphed. So all we have to do is figure out what this plus 1 is doing to our parent graph, and what this 2 is doing, and then make those changes. So let's take a look at this plus 1 first. What would the plus 1 be doing here? Well, if this was on the outside of the square root, like if it was right here, then it would be moving the graph upward because positive is up. And if it was a minus sign, it would be moving it down. But when it's on the inside, that means it's moving left or right. And usually when it's left or right, it's the opposite of what you think, because right usually means positive and left usually means negative. But for transformations, left and right are switched. So this plus 1 on the inside is going to be moving it to the left. So instead of plugging in a bunch of numbers, all we have to do is take this graph that we already have and just move it 1 square to the left. So our little middle point is now going to be right here. And everything else is just going to be regraphed, but 1 square to the left. So there used to be a point right here. It's now going to move right here. And there used to be a point right here. It's now going to move right here. So there we go. We have now graphed our same graph, except now it's 1 to the left. And if the problem was asking you to describe the transformation, then you would just say it moves to the left 1. But now we need to figure out what this 2 is doing. And remember that this is multiplication. So this 2 is multiplying all of our numbers by 2. Whenever we're multiplying by a number on the outside, we call that stretching. Or if the number is less than 1, it's actually compressing, which is just the opposite of stretching because it's making the numbers lower than they were before. So we need to take all of our points on the graph and multiply them by 2. So our middle point is going to stay exactly the same. It's just going to stay right here at 0. But for example, this point is 1 square above the middle point, but we're multiplying everything by 2. So it's now going to become 2 squares above the middle point. And now what about this point here? This one is 1 square below our middle. Now it's going to become 2 squares below. And just for the sake of example, let me show you the point that would have been all the way out here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there would have been a point all the way out here, right? This point, if it was actually on our graph, would be 2 squares above the middle. But because we're multiplying by 2, it would become 4 squares above the middle because 2 times 2 is 4. So there would be a point right here as well. So let's go ahead and draw the new stretched version of our graph. And I'm going to graph it in purple just so that you can see it. So you can see that this version of the graph is a lot taller than the graph before. And that's why it's called stretching. We're stretching out the graph. If this was a fraction, like for example, 1 over 3, then we would actually be squishing it. We would be compressing it. And to describe this transformation, you would just say that it's stretched by a factor of 2. Now, this graph is looking like a huge mess, but remember that only the final graph is actually part of the graph. All this other stuff was just our work. So we can go ahead and erase all this now. And with that, we now have our final graph of this equation. Now, one more thing I wanted to address. For these kinds of problems, you might need to name the domain and range. Now remember that domain is just the numbers that you're allowed to put in for x, and the range are the numbers that you're allowed to put in for y. But you may notice that with this cube root equation, there's like no restrictions. We can put in any number for x because it goes infinitely to the left and infinitely to the right. And it's also going infinitely down and infinitely up, so we can put any number for y. So our domain and range are both all real numbers. So as opposed to our square root graph, which looked something like this, and we couldn't put any numbers to the left here or below here, and there were different restrictions, for cube roots, they're always going to be all real numbers for both domain and range. So now you know how to graph cube root equations and find their domain and range. But you don't just need to know how to graph these little square root cube root equations, you also need to know how to solve them. So if you want to learn how to do that, you can watch this video right here. And as always, if you have any questions about this video, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to answer your question. Thanks for watching.